Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
It's the last day of work for some 300 BPL employees. Find out more straight ahead.
The real estate industry braces for that value-added tax hike. The health minister stands firm that the increase in value-added tax will not hurt the healthcare system.
All right, I'm Kyle.
I'm Ryan.
This is Hercules. And this is Fifth Friday.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, approximately 100 critical members of staff are among the 300 workers who've been approved by Bahamas Power and Light to accept voluntary separation packages. Jared Higgs tells us those workers are being kept on to keep the engines running.
More than 2 months after announcing it would begin conducting a right-sizing of the corporation, Our News understands that Bahamas Power and Light officially began releasing those employees today. BPL CEO Whitney Hasty confirmed that the numbers of employees who accepted the package was around 300. However, approximately 100 of those employees will be retained as the company labors through the high-demand phase of the year.
So we're looking at about 300 people. A third of those we have deemed as critical employees, and that we're going to have to retain, ask them to stay back to help us through this most critical period of the year, which is summer, which is our peak season. And then there's a phase-out approach with those that are staying on as to when they can be released.
Back in April, BPL Deputy Chairman Patrick Rollins indicated that the company would spend the next 18 months reducing its staff complement as it brought on new automated services. The BPL Workers Union at the time threatened a dark, hot summer over the right-sizing plans, but has largely been on board during the VSEP exercise. Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Paul Maynard confirmed that it would be the last date for several staff members who accepted the package, and a party would be held to celebrate their service to the company. Now, this was a plan of U.S.-based PowerSecure, who were the previous managers of the power company. They planned to cut some 233 jobs in order to save $13 million per year. Once fully phased out, the separated employees will bring BPL's total staff to around 750. Back in April, BPL CEO Whitney Hasty stated that it was well known that BPL's then 1,050 employees far exceeded the total required to run the company. When asked about the total cost of the payout, Hasty insisted that they don't discuss numbers in the public domain. However, earlier this month, BPL Chairman Darnell Osborne indicated that the company estimated $1 to $2 million per month in savings as a result of the separations. With a significant portion of exiting employees still required to ensure the viability of the company's operations, Hasty gave assurances that they were working to train the remaining staff.
With the release of those individuals, right, there's also shoring up of people, because some of those folks are really critical. A lot of the folks that have left are the most senior people in this organization with the most experience in this organization. And we certainly have learned from these type of exercises in the past where voluntary separation packages are being offered, the most senior, most experienced folks leave, and then all of a sudden you're in a more critical situation than you were before.
The pressure is certainly on to provide consistent, reliable electricity after years of service that many Bahamians describe as substandard. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, with the value-added tax rate expected to increase by 60% in a matter of days, the Bahamas Real Estate Association says it still has a number of concerns that need to be addressed by the government and a need to meet with the Minister of Finance. Jasmine Brown has more from BREA President Christine Wallace-Whitfield.
Wallace-Whitfield says with the tax hike looming, that meeting is needed with the government now more than ever.
Wallace-Whitfield says since writing the DPM, she has received a call from Acting Financial Secretary Marlon Johnson. However, she believes their concerns require more than just a call.
I just got a call from the Acting Financial Secretary, Mr. Marlon Johnson, but we would still like to request a sit down.
The association's request comes less than 48 hours before value-added tax is expected to increase from 7.5% to 12% on Sunday. She said the nearly 700-member organization hopes Turnquest might consider delaying the tax hike for the industry so as not to shock the market.
We just want to let them know that the impact is going to be great from the 7.5% to the 12%, and I understand the government's position and their decision.
Wallace Whitfield says the association is concerned the increase in VAT will have a negative impact on a housing market that many Bahamians are already priced out of. She adds there is also concern for second home buyers who are finding mounting costs. Additionally, the association is concerned about the effect the VAT hike will have on closing costs, which will mean an increase in the cost of legal fees and real estate commissions. The increase in VAT is scheduled to take effect on Sunday, July 1st, but some other industries have been given extensions.
I think we would just like to have, I think some of the contracts, the pending contracts, to be honored with the 7.5%, because I think everyone's rushing today, the last 2 days in June to get their VAT invoices in. But, the VAT invoices have they normally go in when the sale is basically near completion. And some of them aren't. Some of them were based on sales about 3 months ago. Under the 7.5%, and now we have to do the adjustments.
The association is not the first group to express concern over the VAT hike. Days after the Deputy Prime Minister announced the tax increase in the House of Assembly last month, the Chamber of Commerce and the Employers Confederation met with the Deputy Prime Minister to express their concern over the quick implementation. Chamber CEO Edison Sumner has hit out at the lack of consultation over the budget's revenue-enhancing measures. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Despite pushback about the increase in VAT, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands is contending that the move is best for the country. While many fear the cost of living will go up, the Health Minister says he thinks the VAT bill of most families will decline. Our Jillian Gray tells us more.
Despite criticism over the contentious increase in value-added tax, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands is sticking to his guns that the increase will not harm the healthcare system. Dr. Sands contended that the VAT bill per family would actually be less than previous years.
We anticipate that with the concessionary approaches to the bread basket, to electricity, to water, and so on, that the net VAT bill 2017-2018 as compared to 2018-2019 will be less for a significant number of the people in this community.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Frank Watson knocked the Minnis administration's decision to increase value-added tax as harsh and asserted if the country is broke, the answer isn't to tax people more. Watson also said he doubts government would be able to balance the budget within 3 years. Dr. Sands says ultimately Bahamians will be the judge.
Bahamians are going to judge these critical decisions and policy moves on the basis of success or lack of success.
While medication will be VAT exempt, observers have pointed out that healthcare on the whole will become too expensive, leaving many to move from private healthcare to the already burdened public healthcare system.
It would have been wonderful if we could have eliminated VAT on health insurance. There are a number of things that we would like to do that we have not yet been able to do. And so there is going to be an offset, as it were. All of us ultimately are going to have to tighten our belt as we ride this fiscal storm. And the fiscal storm is not the VAT. The fiscal storm is a consequence of our unfortunate financial position.
According to Dr. Sands, the move from private to public healthcare has been happening for some time, adding it's a sacrifice for the greater good.
It is one of the reasons why we have overcrowding at our primary hospitals. It is one of the reasons why we have the waiting times that we do. And so this situation has been developing over time. Our approach to this has to be deliberate, it has to be focused, and it has to be progressive. And so even as we make changes which in the short run may create some challenges, if the goal is to make it better for the public next year and the year after, then I think it's worth it.
Now again, the exemption on medication does not take place until August 1st. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, what better way to cool down this summer than to hit the water? In tonight's edition of Fit Friday, our Kyle Joaquin becomes the trainer as he gets familiar with some of our favorite mammals.
They're those fun-loving mammals that get a kick out of fishing around with humans. Joining me here at Dolphin Key is Ryan Dean. He's the director of training here.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, what are we going to do today?
You're going to get a chance to get really up close and personal with one of our animals, actually potentially a few of them. Get to learn a lot about them, rub them down, see how strong they are. Like you said, it's Fit Friday, so going to show off a bit for you.
So I'm getting a workout with the dolphins?
Definitely.
Dolphin Key is one of the many fun features offered at Atlantis. Here at the 14-acre environment that includes an 11-acre lagoon complete with coves and sandy beaches, these dolphins are having the time of their life.
This is the diet that we feed the animals. 2 types of fish. Capelin, it's kind of like, it's a soft bone fish, kind of like sardines. This is where they get most of their water from. And then we have a larger species right here, herring.
It's more like sardine.
It's kind of. This actually 2, 3. Whoa. Up and whoa. Again. Whoa. Swing them around. Give you a chance to touch his tail. This is a very, very trusting position. You can actually hold it. You're not afraid. Hold it. There you go. All right. Very, very trusting position.
Your first time meeting a dolphin could be kind of odd, especially when they ask you to give them a hug.
In real life, sharks are one of the actual predators. So 9 times out of 10 on a one-on-one battle, the shark would win. Okay, yeah, the shark would win. Their main defense against the shark is actually completely avoiding them. If they do end up having to defend themselves though, one of the things that they would do versus what Flipper showed you, Flipper, they take their face and ram the shark right in the gills, right? But if you think about it, why would you ram your face next to the shark's face where it could turn around and bite your face off? Yeah. So what they would do, they swim up, swing around, slap with their tail, and they're off in the same direction.
For the moment I was waiting for, the foot push. I was told to get off the ledge, stay afloat, and Hercules, the dolphin, would do all the work.
So what do I do? Do I do this? Yeah, all you're going to do once you lay out, just put your hands out to your side, and they'll do
my whole body going to be underwater?
That kind of depends on you.
Where is he?
Right there. Oh! So that was a short one. I just wanted you to get the feel of it.
Oh, that was fun. Then we gave it one more try, but from a much further distance.
So does this make me like a dolphin trainer extraordinaire?
Almost. One more time and you got it.
What do you think about my, what you call it, Free Willy?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Next time.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
With another Fit Friday for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Kyle. Still to come on Our News, how one program is helping to save troubled teens. Plus, the health minister encourages Bahamians to get tested for HIV. That's coming up when Our News returns.